Hello and welcome to the next chapter of the 10-Minute Mentor Project presented by the Young Lawyer section of the Maryland State Bar Association. My name is Jason Howell. I'm a financial planner who specializes in self-employed professionals and their families. Today we're going to talk about the 10 ways to build a financial foundation. Now these are basics. These aren't the advanced things you might be reading on or seeing on CNBC or reading in Money Magazine, but these basics are what you need to really get started. And believe me, if you get these basics right, then people like myself will be cold calling you, if not now, then in the future. So let's start. Number 1. Now these are not in order, but this first concept is the most important concept for building a financial foundation. And that is become an expert and protect your time. People pay for expertise. Clients pay for expertise. Employers pay for expertise. If you focus now on becoming an expert in something in your career in law, then you'll have an opportunity to probably work just as much as you are now, but maybe for less time and to earn more money. Think of it this way. If you make $50 an hour now, and in a few years you make $150 an hour, that will mean conceptually that you'll be able to double your income today and know that that's going to be your savings in the year 2016 or 2017. People pay for expertise. So what kind of expert do you want to be? An estate planning expert? Do you want to be a patent law expert? Perhaps an immigration attorney expert? Think about that, start focusing on that, and go for that. You'll be there quicker than you think. That is the number 1 concept for building a financial foundation and your wealth in the future. Okay, number 2, protect your credit. Now that's not very sexy, and you've heard it before. And one of the problems with free is that people don't pay a lot of attention to it. So most of you probably know that you can get a free credit report every year. Go to freecreditreport.com, put your information in, and they'll give you a free credit report. But some of you don't do it. This is a great opportunity to make sure you're taking care of the most important ledger of your life. This is what happens. A lot of people know that if you don't have great credit, you won't get great rates on your loans. But there's more to it than that. If you don't have great credit, you may not get a job. You may pay more for things like car insurance, because now credit is used as sort of a behavioral analysis. In the law firm industry, there's a lot of convergence, and so there's more than a 50-50 chance that you might be laid off. If you're laid off, then you'll be wanting to get a new job. And if you try to get a new job, your interviewers will eventually run your credit. Part of your application that you sign says that they're okay to do that. And so if your credit isn't that great, that'll be one more ding against you when trying to get that new job. Alternatively, if you wanted to start your own firm, well, then you'll have to get a loan eventually. And if you don't have the best credit, they're not going to go to John Smith Law Firm to look at the credit because there is none. They'll be going to you. And then that'll inhibit your ability to get that loan and grow your firm over time. So go back to number 1. The most important thing you can do for your income or for your wealth is to become an expert or protect your time. If you can't get a job and if you can't start your own firm, then that stops you from doing those things. So protect your credit. It's actually much more interesting than it seems on the front end. Another website you can go to if you've got about 30 bucks is myfico.com. That'll give you what's called a FICO score. And I won't get into that today, but just know it's another number that's used to measure your behavior and your ability to repay loans and to basically be the best person you can be, according to the folks who are looking at the numbers. So look at those two when you can, freecreditreport.com and myfico.com. Number 3, again, we're looking at protection. Protect your identity. Now, most people you know probably have not had their identity stolen. But it's a fast-growing crime. And if you're in the young lawyer section, probably in the next 5 to 10 years, you will know someone who has had their identity stolen. That someone might be you. So find a way to protect it. At least look into credit monitoring, and you can do this through your bank today. Go to your bank and ask them how much is it to monitor your credit, monitor your bank accounts. It's probably under $10. And there are a lot of websites too that will allow you to do that, lifelock.com and others. Even in your industry, Legal Shield is another firm that offers that as part of their package. Look at those, see what they can do for you, and start monitoring your credit, monitoring your name, your brand, your social security number. Also, don't forget about passwords. There are a few places you can go, in fact more than a few places you can go, to make password creation and password encryption very easy. I'll throw out a couple of them. There's roboform.com, LastPass, Dashlane. Those are a few that are pretty highly rated, where you can basically create one password for all your passwords and then lock and encrypt them. Now, I don't know if those are the best. There are many, many out there, but start looking at that for protecting your passwords. Those are now the keys to everything financial in life, because everything financial tends to be online. All right. Those first few, especially those last two, are about protection. These next 4 through 10 are a lot about leverage. So when it comes to leverage, if you use leverage in the same way that you might use law, you're going to have a great opportunity to build a strong financial foundation. So the number one thing you have, if you're in the young lawyer section of the Maryland State Bar Association, is your youth. Leverage your youth and your health. For example, people your age, if you don't have people depending on you, may not need something like life insurance. You may not think you need health insurance or long-term care, or it's something that you think you'll put off till later. The reality is, a lot like credit, people will give you things when you don't need it, and then when you do need it, they probably don't want to give it to you. So if you're young and healthy today, look into these tools now. You'll pay less for them for the rest of your life if you lock them in today at your youth rate. Remember, you're always young today, you're always healthy today. Tomorrow, you'll only be older and, in all likelihood, a little bit less healthy. So lock in those great rates today. Leverage your youth and leverage your health. Number 5, max your match. If you are lucky enough to work for a law firm that provides you extra income for contributing to what's called a 401k, which is nothing more than a retirement account, which is nothing more than a vehicle or a bucket that you can put money in that won't be taxed until you take it out years from now, then go ahead and take advantage of that. What I mean is this: if your employer says, put some of your pre-tax money into our 401k account that you can't touch, and we will match that money 100% up to 2%, or we'll match it 100% up to 3% of your annual salary, go ahead and take that offer. That's like giving yourself a raise without asking for one. That's the best kind of raise. And that's a really easy kind of leverage. You're taking your own money, you're putting it in a different kind of account, it's still your money, and your employer is just going to give you more because you do that. That's excellent. That's leverage, and that's something you should do. Max your match. Now, what if you don't have an employer, you've hung your own shingle? Or maybe you have an employer who doesn't have a 401k plan or doesn't match it, or you just don't like them. What can you do? You can set up an IRA. That is number 6. Set up your own IRA. And people ask me, well, should it be a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA? That all depends in part on your personal situation. But an IRA is an individual retirement account. It acts in the very similar ways to the 401k. You can put money aside and take advantage of the law, in this case, tax law. You're lawyers, so take advantage of leveraging the law in this case so that your money can grow tax-free or at least tax-deferred going forward. Set up an IRA and speak with a professional, someone like myself, as to whether a traditional IRA, which means you take the deduction in these years, or a Roth IRA that says you don't take the deduction now, but you don't pay taxes later. Speak with a CPA, speak with a financial advisor, and see what's perfect for your situation.